Crypto. All the crypto news in one place.
Progress on crypto regulation hitting a roadblock this week.
What the hell is happening with crypto? Because while the Bitcoin price sinks lower, awaiting the passing of the Clarity Act, this was just announced, the US Senate delays the Clarity Act, delays the crypto market structure bill until 2026. As reported by CNBC, let's watch this, then react.
As the key hearing gets punted into the new year, Emily Wilkins joins us. She has that story. Emily.
Hey, David. Well, yeah, look, banking CEOs, crypto groups, they've been flooding Capitol Hill in recent weeks as senators are trying to come closer to an agreement on when to classify crypto as a security and when to classify it as a commodity, and how to prevent crypto from being used for illegal activities. Yet, lawmakers I spoke to leaving a bipartisan meeting yesterday said there is still work to be done.
We also had, along these same lines, the U.S. Senate has confirmed pro-crypto Michael Selig as CFTC chairman in a 53-43 vote. Once again, everybody knew that this was going to happen, so no surprises here, but I would still view this as very good news for the industry. Carolyn Pham, who was at the CFTC before, is going to become the head legal counsel at MoonPay. She's staying in the industry. Not surprising that we have the revolving door between crypto and Washington. But she's being replaced by someone equally as pro-crypto, long history in the industry. So we are going to have more favorable regulation likely from the CFTC.
The XRP ETF inflows have crossed 1 billion since launching in November. XRP ETFs have seen positive net inflows every single day. That's over 30 days straight now, every single day for a month. The crypto market has been going down, yet XRP investors from Wall Street or buying through the ETFs are accumulating.
So all of that, while we have this, we're closer than ever to passing the landmark crypto market structure legislation. So David Sachs stated the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, a comprehensive bill providing regulatory framework for crypto market structure, is expected to advance or be finalized in January 2026. That's huge, everybody. This is a big deal because the manipulation stuff that's going on. So that's another side of the story. But there's a lot of people that argue the manipulation's not going to end. That's just going to keep going.
Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs of All In podcast fame, says crypto market structure bill markup is set for January. We've been wondering when we're going to finally get the Clarity Act. I'm old enough to remember when it was supposed to be done by August, and Trump demanded that he would have this legislation passed by August. But of course, that didn't happen. The government moved slowly and efficiently and is a heaping trash bin of efficiency. We know that. And then, of course, as it looked like we might finally have some clear tailwinds on the Clarity Act, what happened? The government went ahead and shut itself down because they hate us and they hate you and they hate themselves. But we did get the government reopening, and now once again we have this back on the docket.
All right, this is from Polymarket. And again, I like Polymarket a lot to look at what's happening with the Fed decision in January, just in general, just because they have so many freaking things. Like, look at and one of the things that kind of sets them apart, and like we're seeing a big pivot in crypto, because a lot of people lost so much money on meme coins, which that was a personal choice. Okay, that was a personal choice. A lot of people lost money on meme coins, and they're not really great traders, which most people aren't, which is, I'm an okay trader, but I kind of just pivoted to full-time content creation. But the cool thing about Polymarket, it shows you odds. It's actually just, I personally like it a lot. It makes life a little bit easier. Or if you're somebody who just likes to check what's going on with the news, with politics, sports, finance, crypto, geopolitics, earnings, tech, culture, world economy, elections, mentioned so much more. I like them for that. And in this particular post here, they said Fed decision in January of 2026, like what's going to happen? No change, 25% BPS decrease, 50 BPS decrease, 25 BPS increase. So it has all these, and a lot of people are saying that no change. That's winning right now.
If they've been raising rates, that has already unwound, and that was a narrative already from last year, the last time we talked about the trade unwinding. So yes, do I think the era of free money from Japan is largely over? Of course I do, because it's obviously over. But if it's over, then this kind of news should not be rocking the market. This was it. They hiked rates to the highest level in 30 years, up 25 bips. You can see that chart right there. I mean, that's like a zombie coming back to life, right? A flat line, and then all of a sudden we've got a heartbeat coming back.
People in Japan can go ahead and borrow a bunch of money for a very, very low cost. Very low cost. Granted, not everybody has access to the Japanese capital markets, and therefore not everybody can get a loan in Japan. But the people that do, they take out trillions in dollars worth of Japanese yen from the banks for below 0% interest rates. They convert it into the US dollar and they invest it into equities. They invest it into dollar denominated assets. We need to take a look at the JPY USD too, because it's important. So the thing is, you can do this. It's all nice and all. But look, as soon as they started to hike the interest rate, or as soon as the markets had the expectation that Japan isn't going into a good place economically, there's inflation, I want to check out Japanese inflation, you can clearly see that the Japanese yen took a nosedive, and then the interest rate started to go up. You see, when the Japanese yen goes down, and a lot of people have borrowed trillions of dollars worth of capital at below 0% interest.
Bank of Japan, of course, that was the big worry of the week. Bank of Japan has raised its benchmark interest rate to the highest level in 30 years. Now, just before that announcement, Bitcoin went down to $83,000, something like that. Bounced back pretty hard. Immediately after that, typical central bank interest rate malarkey in the charts, okay?
In July 2024, they hiked again and Bitcoin dropped 26%. And we saw that massive crash in early August 2024 when BTC wicked down to $50,000. So, when Japan turns off the liquidity tap, crypto feels the pain. Why? Well, because when Japanese rates rise, the yen gets stronger against the dollar. And when the yen gets stronger, those hedge funds that borrowed yen suddenly owe more money in dollar terms. They get hit with margin calls. And when you get a margin call, you don't sell what you want to sell, you sell what you can sell. And Bitcoin, being the only asset class that trades 24/7 with massive liquidity, is often the first thing to be sold to cover those debts.
The Bloomberg analyst Mike McGlone issuing a Great Depression warning for Bitcoin. Now, he is the chief commodities strategist, warning investors for global markets that the dangerous signal that we are seeing right now, very similar to what we saw before in the Great Depression of 1929. This was where we saw a massive rotation from paper assets to physical assets, okay? So we're talking about things that hold intrinsic value. Okay, so that would be your precious metals, a lot of maybe non-traditional things that you can't invest in outside of just securities and crypto for that matter.
But ultimately, the thing with metals, and I've been saying this for like last 3 years or so. The thing with metals is that they're just in a macro bull market, and it's easy to want to try to sell the top to then kind of brag about it. And certainly there's going to be highs that are put in, and then you're going to get consolidation phases. We might be in one right now. We might be in one right now for gold, right? If gold is doing what it did over here, it could just be repeating it, where it then kind of comes back down and just consolidates until this bull market support band catches up once again. It's done it several times. So I do want people to be aware of that we could very well be in sort of a consolidation phase right now. But overall, the bull market in the metals continues, and it's easy to want to be a hero and call the top.
The Fed net liquidity has bottomed at the same level it bottomed at within the 2022 bear market lows. I don't know if you were here. We can go to the total crypto market cap chart. This is excluding Bitcoin and stable coins. We can bring up the Fed net liquidity indicator, and just to give you a sense, there are so many indicators that show us the bear market that we've been in. But look at the contraction on that red Fed net liquidity. But just look at this. This was the 2023. This is January 2023 bottom. And just look at where we've been bottoming. We do have a little uptick happening right now with that indicator. QT has ended. Not QE has started. And this net liquidity has now begun its move higher.
But what I do want to be saying, we got such good readings on the market, for example, with the inflation, for example, with the BoJ, but the S&P 500 is reacting very strongly, but Bitcoin isn't. So when bullish news comes out and the market doesn't react very strong, it shows you that the sentiment in the market is weak here. And until this is going to shift around here, so until we're going to see maybe bearish news hit the market and the market is not really dumping anymore so hard, I'm going to say, okay, now it's most likely the bottom. But I don't personally think this is likely the bottom for Bitcoin yet.
We also have Bitcoin's weekly RSI is at the most oversold level since the end of the 2018-2019 bear market. The March 2020 crash, which was absolutely beautiful. If you were in this space back then, that was an amazing time to buy. We went from like $7,500 to about $3,500. That was a 50% drop. So that was huge. But that was presented an amazing buying opportunity. And he also says at the end of the 2022 bear market, which was an incredible buying opportunity if you're buying any Bitcoin under 20,000.
So my thoughts are that there's probably still going to be some type of rally that eventually comes, especially if this market still continues to move on the same trajectory that it has, that it's kind of operated on the same time schedule as it did for 2022 and 2014. And we saw in 2022, it was like to the day where like even these peaks right in here for these ABCs, these ones we keep kind of talking about in here, they come in on the exact same day together. Which is why, of course, like a Santa Claus rally or end of year rally, taking it to like December 29th, December 30th or something would be surely welcomed in the cryptocurrency market.
Blows my mind how many liquidations you see when Bitcoin hits the same bottom price and the same top price every day. And somehow people still manage to lose all their money. But I think that shows you that there's still, Michael love this, too much excess in the crypto markets, and maybe too much hope and expectation that things are going to continue up. But I mean, for now, I think we're still just kind of, in this range and chopping up and down.
Crypto elites with the hopium chart that you need. Okay. I know we're in a bear market. I understand we're underneath the 50-week and the monthly MACDs rolling over and all the bad things are happening at the same time. But this is the hopium chart for you here. Okay. All of this has just been a retest of this massive line right here. Second retest, actually. And that second retest could actually then be the move that takes us higher into 2026 before, of course, then rolling over and taking us back down to like 50K or something like that.
Buying something just because it goes down is not an investment strategy that the smart money uses. That's pretty much just left there for dumb money and altcoin specialists, where you think just because something's cheap, someone else is going to buy it. If you go to the shop, fresh fruit and veg, here's an analogy. If that's cheap, are you going to buy it? It's got a little bit of mold on it, starting to go off. Maybe you could use it in a smoothie or boil it up. I don't know what you're going to do with this crap, but you don't want it because it's going off.
I want to kind of disabuse the notion that winning with Bitcoin is like winning the lottery, because it doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. And for you to have won with Bitcoin, it took a lot of conviction.
Right.
You were the weirdo in the family. You were the person who was just boorish. Nobody wanted to talk to you because you're going to try to orange pill them at every cocktail party. And now all of a sudden, great, you won. It's you didn't just go buy like a scratch ticket and all of a sudden you win the Powerball. It's like, no, You've been through the ups and downs. You've been in this for a decade, maybe a little bit more. You had people telling you you're crazy. This is snake oil squared. This is for money launderers. This is for bad actors. This is nothing but a scam. It's nothing but a Ponzi scheme. We've all heard it.
So, did you enjoy the Zap? Let me know in the comments.